Yeah, so I'm Tim Vieira, a bit of an optimist, but at the same time realist, trying to make a difference in many people's lives by giving them one of the most important tools, probably, relevant education.
Right.
Something that sounds so easy, and in the end actually isn't that easy, because we've sort of got into this rut of doing education the same way for such a long time. So I'm a parent of three. They were my guinea pigs when we started this. A husband to an amazing wife that stood behind me when we went on this crazy adventure. Lead an amazing team. Make lots of mistakes. Sometimes people say, Tim, you're an entrepreneur of success. I think I've had many more failures than successes. Yeah, that's me, Tim Vieira.
So what inspired you to start Brave Generation Academy? And then just tell us a little bit about it itself, the academy.
So basically what inspired me was that, I wanted to make an impact for a while in education, but couldn't find the exact way of putting all the ideas into practice. And everyone you speak to, they're not happy. The learners aren't happy, the parents aren't happy, school teachers aren't happy. But there wasn't a way to do anything concrete that would execute and start taking us on the right route. When 2019 I did this world travel. Every 3 years I'd do some kind of a big trip. 2019 we did a world travel where we went right around the world using trains, camels, boats, cars, buses, a whole bunch of stuff. And when I got back, put my kids back into traditional school, which my kids were actually not struggling in, but they weren't thriving in. And the one day I picked them up and I said, how was school? And they said, the same as your school, And I thought about that for a while, and then I said, listen, why aren't you doing those things that you were doing while we were on holiday? Because we don't have time. And I started looking at it, and it's true, they're sort of like in prison, not in school. And they don't want to go there, just like prison, and in the end they had almost wardens telling them, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, stop talking. And I thought there's got to be something better than that. So I took my first two, the boys, out as my guinea pigs. I didn't want to really mess up the girl, I thought if it goes wrong, at least my little Elena, she'll be fine. And then started with the boys, started with a tutor, started making a platform, started working hard on the platform, started understanding that if we had a platform that wasn't live lessons and it was really just available when you needed it, my kids could do a lot of other things. So they started to do a lot of other things. More parents noticed it, more of them asked if their kids could join. And then all of a sudden we had 19 kids, and that's when I decided, okay, we're doing our first Brave Generation Academy hub, so known as BGA, and Brave Learners. We had a few brave parents, and those brave parents put in more kids, and we opened the hub, and it was a huge success. About a month later we opened a second hub, third hub, fourth hub, fifth hub, and it just started working. And it really worked, I think, because we had a lot of common sense. We kept things simple. We employed learning coaches instead of teachers. We had the teachers in the background preparing all the curriculum, putting everything online, answering questions. But we had the learning coaches building relationships with the kids and inspiring them to do more stuff, inspiring them to do try out things, connecting the kids. We changed a few things as well. We did it, different ages in the group. So from 12 to 18, they were all in the same classroom, which we call the hub. They would open up their laptop, different kids doing different things, different subjects. We were able to have a wider range of subjects, because now we didn't have to have a teacher for every subject.
So you mentioned the platform, and so it sounds like that the platform essentially is what kind of holds the whole model for BGA. Can you talk a little bit about what that platform is? What does it
So
contain?
the platform, we became Cambridge accredited and Pearson's accredited schools. So we were the first one in the world to become this. And obviously, we needed a platform that kids could work with. They could have 25-minute lessons where they read, listen, and watch, and then they do a quiz, get 85%, move on to the next lesson, etc., etc. And they sort of started to master it because they could always go back, they could always check again, they could always ask for help. And obviously quite a lot of peer-to-peer, older kids can help younger kids, so a lot of empathy and so on. But the idea was never to become this amazing platform. I really believed that we were going to become amazing hubs with amazing learning coaches, and then the platforms would change as there are different kids, doing different platforms. At the moment, it's still our platform because it really is, it really is, it works, it's great. But I hope it will become an ecosystem for other platforms. That's really what I hope, and what we do is bring in the great coaches, bring in the beautiful hubs in great locations. We've, as I said, when we started the first one at a horse riding and tennis academy, and everyone wanted to be there, and then another horse riding academy, and then city centers, and then marinas, and then co-working areas.
Let's talk a little bit about that. So the hubs are the shared spaces that students have a chance to kind of corral around. That's where there's a meetup spot. So how does a hub come online, and then exactly how does it operate on a daily basis?
Okay, so it's a physical hub. So we're not online. It's about 2,000 square foot. It's got a relax zone, a focus zone, and then the work zone. Our learners are able to come in there between 8 and 6. Different countries have different times. We always have a learning coach present. The learner can come in, if he's gone surfing in the morning, he comes in after the morning. So it really is versatile. It's also versatile because it doesn't have holidays. So we open all year round, close 2 weeks at Christmas time, a week in Easter time, but it's open all year round. Which again allows learners and parents and so on to change their whole lifestyle and opens them up to more experiences. We're also able that you hop, so you can be at one hub and then go to another hub, etc. So if you do go on a holiday, you can actually go to a different hub. So we don't do homeschooling. We really do presidential schooling, because we want kids to be there, because we really believe they benefit from that, and kids help kids. We really do believe that our learners push other learners to try new things. So the hub is just this amazing place where they feel like they're actually in a work zone. They feel like they might be in university already. We start trusting them to run their timeline. So every Monday at the hub, the learning coach will look at your timeline and see if you're up to date, if you're red or green.
So what does it mean to be red or green?
It means that you're keeping to your planned path. Okay. So if you want to write exams in November, the speed you're going at will have you ready to write your mocks and then write your exam. So if you red, it means you're not on targeted. So you either have to change your target or start working a little bit harder. And the other great thing about this is that we have the flexibility to have exams more often than once a year. So we can have it 2 to 3 times a year. So those little changes, I think, make big impact in the way our learners have a lot less anxiety. We've got learners that maybe arrive, they have special needs. They actually blend in, because they can concentrate on what they're really interested in. And then the learning coach's other task is really to get you involved in your community. So they will set up community works. They will find out job shadowing experiences. They'll work with you on, the sports that you're looking for, the culture that you're looking for, the music that you want to do. So we've got it all around us. So it's just that sometimes, we don't really get involved in our community and use what we have there. So by doing that, we're also able to be a lot better value than maybe private schools. So yeah.
So do you think that BGA attracts a certain type of student who's usually interested in becoming part of the hub?
So we quickly started attracting the students that are very academic, that actually want to get really great marks, because they're now in charge of their path. So they can really look at getting the best marks possible, take more subjects, go quicker, go slower, etc. But we also then started finding those students that have passions outside school, outside academics. And if they're horse riders, golf players, tennis players, footballers, they now can actually incorporate that lifestyle and do school as well. So we got from both sides, so it wasn't like we went one way or the other. We actually started getting both sides. So we have some kids that we actually have to slow down because we want holistic learners that come out of this. So we start looking at how can we give them more experiences on the side of, let's say, real life. We're able to give them more job shadowing to slow them down so they don't actually have to finish as fast as they want. But in the end, it really is their core, We were also able to, with our model, bring in different kinds of things called Brave and Beyond, where we started having a curriculum that actually looked at giving our learners more skills on communication, on leadership, on financial planning, on time management, etc., all these kind of really important skills, but that we don't actually cover many times at school. So we were able to do a little bit of everything, but still there's a lot of time left, and kids just naturally started thriving. And I think that's where our success came, because our success has really come from us focusing on the learner. Every question is about the learner. The parents come with the learner, we understand that, but we're not there like concentrating on something else and then doing the learner. We actually do the learner and then do what's needed. And I think those little changes have really, really made a big impact.
Great. So we're in terms of hubs, how many hubs exist at this point, and what's your strategy for the future?
So we have 52 hubs now in 8 countries, and I think our aim is to keep growing them. So once we get a hub or we get an interested family and then they find a few more interested learners, once we have 8 learners, we'll open a hub, and then we see how the hub starts to grow. We train the learning coaches, we put them into the right place, do them up. They're beautiful hubs, and then our aim really is to be able to grow this model for any child who's looking at coming to BGA. We launched our first hub that's free with a big company called Sonai. So we'll have a hub that anyone who wants to come to it actually comes to it for free. And I think that's a model that we'll really try and keep promoting, is working with partners in where we can get scholarships for kids, and they can come if they want to come through to BGA. I think we'll keep pushing the price of real quality, relevant education down. That's we don't want to be going upwards. We want to be coming downwards. We want to keep training and having the best learning coaches possible. So there's still a lot to do, but our vision really is to. In the US now, we opened our first one in Boca Raton, but we're looking at North Carolina, Atlanta, and Fort Worth, Texas. So we'll set those up, and then the hubs start growing from there. They're all company owned, so it's weird to say company because we're not that profit oriented. It's more really about the purpose in it and being sustainable. But we hit all the right marks. We're not building new buildings, we're using old buildings, revitalizing them, bringing life back into that community. We really bring in different social classes together. We're able to bring kids with different passions together, and they pass their passions on to each other. We're super excited about the partnerships we're doing with companies and universities, where our aim is we hope to start doing some first-year subjects at BGA, so that you actually, if you've done it and you've passed your first year university, you actually then go to university and you're not looking at dropping out, you're not looking at giving up, and the university knows you should be there. So there's a lot that we've got planned, and I think all those kind of steps are just going to contribute constantly to uplifting the whole of education, because I think a lot of what we're doing will be put into other schools. We want to be, we're looking at going into schools that sometimes maybe don't have the subjects we've got, and we can be there and offer those subjects.
So you're looking to partner with schools as well?
Yeah, we see them all as vital, vital pieces in upgrading education. So we can't do this alone.
Right. Well, Tim, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. It sounds like you just opened up a couple more hubs, and it seems like it's happening every day. As far as I know there's a lot of talk about changing education. What is the big idea here in terms of what BGA stands for and what they're seeking to do that's different based on kind of the world that we live in now? Because you do call it Brave New Generation.
Yeah. No, I think for us, I was getting tired of talking about it. I really was, and everyone's a pro. There's so many professionals. There's so many experts in education and so on. And I actually just decided we need to execute and start doing something. Stay away from tradition. Stay away from thinking as we've always been thinking, and doing things differently. So that was very important. It was really done so that we can actually focus on the learn of today and prepare them for the world of today. We want to have partnerships, yes, with companies, with schools, as I told you, with universities, because we really believe that that's the only way we're going to make a real big impact. We're working from within. We became Cambridge accredited and Pearson's and edXL accredited because we also didn't want to come from the outside and try and get in. We've started from the inside, but slowly I'm sure there'll be more courses that will be offered and more things. Writing exams in our hubs, all that wasn't possible just 6 months ago, and now they are. The Cambridges and the Pearsons have adapted. So I think our yes, I think it's brave everywhere, like brave with our parents, brave with our learners, brave with our staff. It's not easy, it's almost like you're hitting a wall every day. Like I'm exhausted today, because it's just like we're doing something amazing and yet it's so difficult. It's really, really difficult. When we find someone passionate, sometimes we find them that really passionate about education, but they're passionate for a short while. This doesn't work for a short while. This is going to be a long battle. But it is a battle that we can't afford to lose, okay? Because if we keep losing this battle, we're going to keep getting the same kind of people we've got leading us, the same kind of people directing us, and we need better people. We need people. I often look at youngsters and I tell them, listen, you guys can impact the world. And then, they almost look at me and say, I don't think we can. And, and I look at it and I see our leaders, in Africa, average leader age is like 68 years old, and yet 50% of the African population is lower than 25. So there's a miss. Global leaders are like super old and like super political powers, and you almost feel like you'll never get there. We go to Davos and it's like irrelevant, those people. If you speak to a youngster nowadays and say make $1 million, they don't think they can make $1 million, but they can make tokens. So what's happening with our youngsters is they don't believe they can affect the world we live in. So they start looking at metaverse and they start looking at, living within social media and getting more tokens and this and that. And I think we need an education that can tell them, yes, you can change the world that we're in. Yes, you can make a difference, and you have to. So that's what's exciting about what we're doing.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Tim.
Okay. Great. Thank you.